And now for something completely different.
Comic books.
Comics, man.
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Hello. Welcome to That Comic Podcast. I'm your host, Mendte, and with me, as always, are my wonderful sidekicks. First, Mr. Mashko.
Can I kick it?
Sometimes. And... Yes. That's okay. You go ahead.
Can.
You can. Then there's B Features.
Hello, internets.
And are you producer actually on the show?
He's on the show.
He's on the show. And then there's Baby Huey.
What's going on?
What's going on?
And then Lance.
Cyclops sucks.
Hey, come on, man.
You can't see my sign, but
No, they
it
can.
says. Oh,
They
okay.
might not be able to see it on Instagram, but on social media, on YouTube, they can. if it makes it, depends on Mashko.
Beta test.
Beta test. All right. Well, welcome to a pretty interesting show because, like we complained last week, we had to do 2 issues because we wanted to do Daredevil Born Again, but there was so much news that we couldn't just cram everything into one. Now the well is dried up.
This week we're getting 3 episodes.
Well, it's actually
Today.
the reverse. There wasn't a lot to talk about, so we're going to revisit some of the older rumors.
So that's the show. Goodbye.
Yeah,
See you guys
take it
next week.
Take it easy. I mean, we still got our comic reviews. We still got about. There's plenty to talk about. So first off, we got some Marvel news. First off with Daredevil. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere about that. The twist of the first episode. No spoilers at this point, but best believe I'm going to spoil it soon. So we want to go over the big twist and how a lot of people are saying it's not what you might think it is. And I think they make a really fair point. So I want to go into what's going on with Daredevil. Then I also want to talk a lot about the rumor mill right now, or at least in the last couple of weeks, has been pretty wild with Doomsday, because we saw those leaks, but it turns out there was some crazier things that were also announced, one of which is how Ghost Rider might be making an appearance. So we've got some Ghost Rider news on how that might play out in Doomsday and or Secret Wars, plus an X-Men, one of the X-Men making an appearance in Secret Wars as well, which will be pretty interesting. Plus, we've got the Defenders coming back for Season 2 of Daredevil, potentially. The villain of Hawkeye Season 2, potentially. Vin Diesel teasing that there might potentially be a Planet X group movie. And then some, I don't know, an interesting take on the Thunderbolts of what we're all just kind of assuming. Then over at DC, we've got some Batman casting rumors, which a lot of us are excited about, but apparently Mashko's pissed about, so that'll be interesting. And then I just want to talk about Dexter for a while because we haven't. And,
It's Dexter.
It's Dexter.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Yeah, it's Dexter.
Dexter has a comic book, damn it, and it's one of my favorites called Dexter Down Under. Feel free to read it, but that makes this valid for a comic book podcast.
Yes.
But then, yeah, we got our book reviews, The Ultimates, Wolverine. I know Features read some X-Men. So that is going to be the show, plus whatever tangents we plan on going on. But before we do that, let's bring it over to Daredevil and a big ol' spoiler warning. This is your spoiler warning for episode 1 and moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, episodes 1 and 2. 3
yeah.
is out now.
Oh, that's true. It would be out today. That's true.
Well, we didn't see it
Well,
yet,
not for
so
us. Yeah,
we're good.
you guys
Yeah.
saw it. But this is actually something that, again, spoiler alert. So, the death of Foggy Nelson. I said it, spoiler alert, 1,000,000 times, so I want to hear
It's
nothing about
on
it.
you.
They're ready.
But with the death of Foggy Nelson, that really put people on 2 ends of the spectrum on whether or not this show was good. I think most people liked it, but I think that was like when Glenn died in The Walking Dead, that it might have been too much for some people, and they were ready to call it quits just at the end of Foggy. One thing that was pointed out a while back, and I didn't even realize how old this story was, that in the original leaked set photos, and in the first episode, but in the original leaked set photos, there is a bright blue 468 on the back wall behind our trio. Mm-hmm. And it really didn't mean much to, I don't know, to anyone at the time, but it's definitely made its way back around, and some old articles are being reposted where people realize that the 468th issue of Daredevil is Daredevil Volume 2, number 88, which is The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson, which is an interesting story where Foggy fakes his own death by going under witness protection because of Vanessa Fisk. So there is some truth to that if you think about the scenario that played out with Foggy getting shot. Like, for example, how did Bullseye not shoot him in the head?
Right? Yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
someone
Good
else
question.
took one in the head, right?
He was
Everybody
picking
took
everybody off, but all of a sudden he gets a weird little shot to the side.
Huh.
Yeah.
And in the comic, when he fakes his death, there is a similar scene. None of this is like shot for shot or even close, but there is a similar scene where Daredevil is hearing Foggy's heartbeat getting softer and softer, which is when he believes that he lost his friend. So we heard that loud and clear throughout that entire hallway fight scene, which was a great scene, CGI aside. But what do you guys think? Do you think with the news that's been out, that I think Deborah Ann Wall said that she and Foggy are both back in season 2, which we all kind of assume were going to be flashbacks, but he could truly be alive at the end of this show. What do you think? Let's start with features. What are you thinking?
Wow, I'm thinking a lot, but mostly just one. If it's an Easter egg like this, I love these because it keeps the intrigue in the series, and you have to watch more to see where it goes if it's real. 2, I hope it is, because Foggy is an integral part of the Daredevil show, and he's a beloved character that we all want to see. There was such a big fuss about him being on Daredevil Born Again, and then to show up and then have him taken away, but also with it fitting the narrative of that story, it seems like it should be there. And now I have to see it. I have to watch. I want more, not just for the sake of it being Daredevil, but this is just another piece of it now that I have to find out to see if it's true.
Well, one thing that makes me kind of wary about this entire story is that while, yes, that was obviously something that they alluded to, they also were using that poor man in all of the press junkets as if he was in the show. Like, did you see that interview with the guy goes, I saw the first 2 episodes. Can I just give you a hug? And he just looks over kind of, all right, buddy, can bring it in. But yeah, it was the one. I forget who the interview was with. It was with the showrunners. It was with Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox. But like one of the first questions was like, "So Foggy," and Charlie Cox looks like he spits out his drink and is like, "Can we talk about that?" And then he was like, "I'm so devastated by the loss of him, and it was such a big deal because we're so close." So did his acting continue into those interviews? Is it that well concealed, or are we all just reading into an Easter egg?
I wouldn't put it past Marvel to have scripted interviews.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Holland has leaked a lot, and so has a few others.
Tom Holland has leaked a lot. I mean, the videos are 100% scripted. He showed the poster.
He's leaking all of his talent out, too.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I will. This is a hill I will die on and fight you forever.
Can't be a Holland hater all the time.
Well, all right, fine.
Huey,
Mashko.
you were gonna say something, and then I'll chime in. But go ahead, Huey.
No, I was gonna say is it either what Lance said. It's a scripted interview, or like they're pulling with Tom Holland. They didn't give him the full script or tell him what the master plan is.
That's actually a good point, because maybe he has no idea what. Although I forget what the timeline was with the shooting. I know we were talking.
I think it's filming now, isn't it?
That season, yeah.
So he knows now. He might not have known at the time, but he knows now.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I love the Easter egg stuff with the 468. It's like when they had like the QR codes that you could get the comics and stuff in Moon Knight. That shot to Foggy was right around his heart. So I mean, I mean, where she was covering that wound was.
But if he's faking his death because Vanessa put him in witness protection, because again, Vanessa's also acting weird. Let's not act like Vanessa's normal Vanessa right now.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, now that I'm thinking about that, and this is one of the questions I had while I was watching. I'm like, if he just got shot, and you saw like the blood, we'll talk about Dexter later if you know about blood spatter. It came out the back, which if there's an exit wound, that bullet's traveling through it too, and that would have hit her, and it didn't hit her. So, and he was standing right in front of her.
And do we truly believe that Bullseye was just out for revenge? Or was Bullseye hired?
A little bit of column A, little column B.
Yeah,
ahead,
Bullseye would have the ability to hit that very specific spot that would knock his heartbeat out, but not necessarily kill him. I know that there was a comic that had that kind of scenario before, And that's kind of where my mind goes. It's like maybe it was that whole inside plan the whole time.
But are we all just hoping against hope? Like, that's my point. Are we all just reading too much into an Easter egg because we all loved that portrayal of Foggy? To be honest, there's not a portrayal of Foggy I don't like. I think Happy Hogan did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chef did a phenomenal job. The director's cut, yeah.
I mean, I think the reason why we should be able to hope because the things that we're questioning right now, like Bullseye, we know him to not miss a target. And if he's just knocking everybody down and this, let's say it's all headshots, he's not just going to randomly shoot just one other person in the gut or close to the heart.
Well, that whole scene, you hear one shot, Foggy's hit. Then all of a sudden the two people who walk out of the door afterwards, headshot.
Yeah.
Right. It
exactly.
That doesn't fit Bullseye.
But it also doesn't fit, like, going into witness protection either. You know what I mean? Like, he went on a killing spree and murdered a lot of people. So if you're trying to cover up something like someone going into witness protection, and why he would be going into witness protection is also a big question. But that whole scene led to the death of a lot of people.
I forget when they did they haul him off and put him in a body bag and zip him up and all that wonderful stuff? Or did you just go in an ambulance?
I don't think he saw that.
We didn't see any of that.
So, and this is the other thing, and I'm glad you said that, Mashko. They only said that Foggy was gone. We didn't actually, and I know we can attribute to Daredevil hearing the heartbeat kind of going away, but did it actually go away, or did it just slow down enough to where he couldn't hear it anymore? And we know he was kind of in a.
I mean, he could hear everybody's heart at that point.
Yeah,
but he also
That's a
wasn't
good point, though.
like in a good place. So
you know why he's not dead?
What's that?
Because he's in the MCU now. If this is still Netflix, that bitch would have been dead.
Come back as a scroll 12 times.
Yeah, it's a scroll, exactly. He's a scroll.
Comic his ass back to life.
I saw that theory too. That's dumb.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, that would be an easy way to get everyone to just groan at the same time.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. That's
no. I don't think they will. I do think that we might be reading too much into this because that death is so important to the direction of the show that it would be really underhanded to just pull that motivation out last minute just for some fan service of, guess what? Foggy's still alive. Don't get me wrong. I would still prefer Foggy to be alive, but as we're moving forward with the narrative, to then go back on it after 8 episodes would feel shallow.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I think you also made a point that his death, it sets a different kind of narrative for the show. And I think if we're paying attention to the title of it, Daredevil Born Again, it has to be about Matt. Regardless of how much we love the side characters, we have to see more about him and what his arc is going to be. I think that if Foggy does come back, it should be probably in the second season, just so it doesn't deter away from whatever the story is going to be this season.
Or it'll
maybe
be
that
at
is
the
the
end
story.
of this season, and there's a knock at the door, and there he is, and then fade to black.
Yep,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
wait till next year.
How the and then it's end.
Bring on Frank. Where's Frank?
Yeah,
That's who we want now.
coming soon.
Well, and then so let's just keep going with the Daredevil news then, because while, yes, I think there is a lot of hope for Foggy to be alive, I think it would also be underhanded to do that to the narrative. But it is a very MCU thing to do, and I've forgiven worse. So,
Hey, it'd be comic accurate, so.
it would be. It would be. And they're known for bringing everyone back from the dead. So, yeah. But we also heard some crazy stuff from the Cosmic Circus, meaning take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But the Defenders apparently are returning in season 2 as well. Now, we've already heard the rumors of Kristen Ritter coming back as Jessica Jones. We've heard that. She's shown pictures of her at filming. Like, we know she's coming back. But now we're also hearing that Danny Rand is coming back for Iron Fist.
Bring back my boy, Finn Jones.
Yeah. Finn Jones is coming
Finn
back.
Jones.
Look, if Finn Jones, who?
Finn Jones.
If Finn Jones plays Danny Rand from Luke Cage and not from Iron Fist, he'll be great. Remember that one episode where he shows up and he's like real calm and he's just spitting bars the whole episode? Yeah, that's the Finn Jones I want back.
Just because I'm looking at this right now, did Typhoid Mary make it through Iron Fist? Did she die? Is she still alive?
Ooh, I don't remember.
I don't think
People watch
I don't-
that show.
Because that's Alice Eve, and her coming back to the Marvel universe that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, I got nothing for you.
Doesn't Daredevil have a fling with
Typhoid Mary
Yeah,
is a
Typhoid
Daredevil
Mary, yeah.
character. She,
Typhoid. I'm never excited about Typhoid Mary. We're already adding too much time to Typhoid Mary. This is not a. This is like going, Kang's the next big villain. Damn it.
Well, I
Typhoid
mean,
Mary is not exciting.
Matt is quite the ladies' man. So
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
I
But
totally
another
forgot who was
ladies'
in
ma-
that show, and now I'm seeing it. So
Another
She
ladies.
is
man.
alive. She is alive.
you're just like, screw Iron Fist.
I'm trying to get past Iron Fist so fast because I've watched both and I don't remember anything except for I'm the invincible Iron Fist.
No, but you know the one person, the night nurse.
Yes, she was
Night
great.
Nurse.
Yeah, Night Nurse was great.
Yeah.
But Night Nurse was great and everything.
Right, but
Yeah.
will she come back, or
I
is
will
she too
take-
busy
yeah.
with Ahsoka?
Not enough for a cameo. She could come in for an episode. Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was news about Kristen Ritter being cast in something else.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But we still have to say the one big one that you were so interested in Typhoid friggin' Mary that, yes, Luke Cage is coming back. A much more important thing. Michael Coulter is apparently coming back, who had, I would argue, the second best full show.
Yeah.
I would say Kristen Ritter's season 1 of Jessica Jones might be the best of all. Daredevil being the best show. The best secondary show, though, I would have to give it to Luke Cage. I think Luke Cage shows both seasons. Even season 2 is not the greatest, and the end of season 1 not the greatest, but it does. The full seasons of both were phenomenal. Oh, Punisher. That's true. I didn't think about Punisher. But we're getting stuff with Punisher already. We already know he's back, so that's not interesting. But everybody else is back, and I think that's pretty dope. I think it's a pretty cool idea to get that original cast back together, especially with hearing so many rumors that another Iron Fist is going to show up in, I think, Shang-Chi.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shang-Chi 2, or was it Doctor Strange 3?
Yeah.
There
all
was
of
somebody
them.
who was going to take place in Kunlun.
That might have been. That might be Shang. I want to say it'll be Shang-Chi too.
Shang-Chi makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm down for that. I'm also down for Finn Jones to come back. Look, I know everybody hated his seasons, and I'm one of them.
Jones.
But Finn Jones, if you can, that one Heroes for Hire episode we got in Luke Cage was the best we got from him. And if we can get that Danny Rand, where he's not just some whiny, cocky prick the whole time, I would enjoy it so much more.
Yeah.
He comes off as like the Anakin from the
Yeah.
They're holding me back.
Don't like sand.
All right. Well, he also the Cosmic Circus also had another big lore drop with Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider. So apparently during a Q&A session, he was asked about what he thought was going to happen with Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, and he said that not sure about Nicolas Cage because he doesn't have a lot of casting information, but he has heard rumors that our first appearance of Ghost Rider in the MCU will be Doomsday, and that he will be an agent of Mephisto, so he will actually be a bad guy, moving into Secret Wars, where he kind of then branches free. And maybe we'll get that scene that was not teased, but rumored for a while, where Nicolas Cage was supposed to be the strongest, most badass character in Deadpool vs. Wolverine. Because remember back in the Multiverse of Madness days, when all of this stuff was leaked for the first time, and all these people were up for projects, and they were reaching out to everybody, and it turned out it was for multiple different things? Well, Nicolas Cage was one, and the rumor was his character was going to be wildly OP.
This sounds like a massive educated guess.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's fair for the Cosmic Circus. I think I'd take it with a
Yeah.
grain of salt.
This sounds about right. That sounds about right. This could have happened. Yeah. We've heard these things before. It'd be
But
cool.
we do
It would be
know-
cool.
The one thing we do know for sure that while it was rumor, we do know from some of the Deadpool and Wolverine behind the scenes, as well as the some of the concept art that was leaked for Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if it was leaked or released. We know that Ben Affleck's Daredevil was supposed to be in it, as well as Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, and they were in that concept art where they were fighting all the other Deadpools. So when you see him in the background, just taking out a lot of people, a lot of the pools on the back of his bike, and he apparently said no, which is wild because Nicolas Cage is one of the biggest comic fans to live. Captain Coppola over there is only Cage because of Luke.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Captain Coppola. Kudos to you. That
That was a good one.
Right? Sometimes. But I don't want to see another version of Ghost Rider. As bad as those Nicolas Cage movies are, I want Nicolas Cage back as Ghost Rider redeemed. Because nobody was upset about Nicolas Cage. They were just upset about the quality of those movies.
That
I know
is
you
true.
all-
True.
I
That
know
is
you all
true,
hate the
but-
character, but Robbie Reyes coming in, giving
No.
old Nicolas Cage.
Absolutely not. I
Come
want to stop you right there.
Big old no. I will say he was great in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, he
The
was.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. portion of Robbie Reyes was outstanding. But Ghost Driver will never be better than Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And until we get a strong Ghost Rider, I don't want to switch the vehicle of choice.
Nah,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
just saying we get both.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.
Later.
Much later.
Like
Much
that would be
later.
like if we got Red Hulk first. You know what I mean? You'd be like, well, there's a green one. There,
We started with green. Green
what happened to
didn't go.
Bruce? Where'd old Bruce go?
What if he's on a Wave Rider? Wave
Would be
Runner.
very funny. No, it would be. Oh my God, it would be
Pull up
Mobius.
on a-
No, Mobius would become an agent of Mephisto on a jet ski from Loki.
I want
Polaris.
that art in my room now.
All right. Well, then after that, what is his name? Daniel Rickman.
Yes.
Richmond.
Rick.
He has a couple of rumors as well. So again, these are
RPK.
just the scoopers. So grain of salt with all this. But this one's interesting because it's our first time an X-Men character might be making an appearance in an Avengers movie that we've actually already seen in the MCU, which was Beast. Kelsey Grammer's Beast made that quick cameo at the end of the Marvels, and since we're probably not going to get anything that ties up that plot thread, apparently Kelsey Grammer is coming back for Secret Wars as Doomsday. Coming back for Doomsday, which is where we'll probably see what happened to Monica Rambeau and Binary. So that whole plot thread at the end of the Marvels, we'll probably see how that ties in. And that might even set up, for the love of God, I hope this happens, that rumored Avengers vs. X-Men movie that they keeps floating around the rumorville, but we're not getting any kind of officialness on that at all.
Hey, you know
That'd
what?
be
Every
great.
time you bring that up from situations like what we're talking about, like right now, I always think back to Deadpool and Wolverine when Wolverine goes, "The Avengers."
Yep.
So
Well,
it's
that
like-
Wolverine.
Right.
Yeah.
That Wolverine. But they haven't really truly explained why the TVA kind of kept them separate. And why some universes don't really have them. Like, I thought Deadpool and Wolverine was going to go into more detail about that, but that's something, again, they could explain. That's something that you can give Kelsey Grammer. Just let him do what Donatello did in all the Michael Bay Turtle movies. He just spits out exposition. Every time you
let him
see him,
cook.
he's an exposition machine. You know,
Well, technically, that is Beast, no matter what.
give me some techno jargon about how no one knows who you are. Thank you.
and a tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
That's
a good one.
Eggs. That's a good one.
Here's where I'm at with Beast. I'm a little more interested. I'm kind of sick of seeing like this person's coming back. This person's like, who's playing them in the future? That's more what I'm interested in. So I'm trying to follow a lot of these rumors with the new X-Men. And as you said, Beast. We talked about this earlier. Jesse Plemons is a name that's been popping up for Beast in the new X-Men team. So
When I first saw the article title, I went, "Who the hell?" And then I saw his face, and I went, "Oh, that guy'd be
that
great.
guy, that guy's in everything.
He's good." Yeah, that's all I
Yeah,
got.
there's a lot of names floating out there for a lot of X-Men, like even Margot Qualley.
Who?
She's in the young lady that was in The Substance opposite Demi Moore. She's also in. Well, now that I look back on it, everybody was in Quentin Tarantino Hollywood movie. What was it called?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time. Like all of like young Hollywood was in that movie. I'm just realizing it now. So we're probably going to see a bunch of people from that group kind of come out because that's where or no, never mind, won't go there. But
Thanks for the
Mikey, the young lady that won the Oscar, I don't believe she was in that movie, but there were others. Anyway,
You lost me, champ. But I am excited for that. If he actually turns out to be the Beast, I think that would be excellent casting. Because again, at first I had no idea what that name, who that name is. But actually every time I see his picture, I've seen him in other movies, but the scene that always plays in my head is a trailer from Civil War.
I was gonna say, that's the most recent. Yeah,
it's the thing. If I see his face, that's the first thing I think. Which American?
Well, he was in Friday Night Lights, if I'm not mistaken, the TV show, not the excellent in that show. So
yeah, he'd be great.
That's worth a rewatch, to be honest with you. It's a good show.
I'm sure we're going to start getting a slew of X-Men rumors as soon as Doomsday hits and we start seeing X-Men on a more regular basis. You're going to start getting a lot of X-Men rumors because they don't want to. I don't think they want to flood the rumor mill with X-Men stuff when they have 2 Avengers projects in the works, and we know these are pretty much the last 2 Avengers projects for a while.
Yeah,
and after this is supposed to be X-Men territory moving forward. So, which fair enough. We've had what? 15, 20 years of Avengers properties. We can move on. It's okay. We got Dark Avengers for
by
sakes.
the time this comes out, it'll be 20.
Yeah.
Remember back when Iron Man came out in 2008?
Oh, God.
Well, one of the during the Cosmic Circus's Q&A, one of the other things he said that Moon Knight's not going to get a season 2, but we should expect new Moon Knight in Doomsday and in Secret Wars. And in the original Kang Dynasty storyline, he was one of the main people going up against Ramatut. So we do know he played a bigger role in the original storyline that was not necessarily, Battle World, Secret Wars, 2015 Jonathan Hickman. But he did play a pivotal enough role that I don't see them just writing out his character and not giving us an answer to what was up with Jake Lockley. It seems as though a lot of this phase, since these next 2 phases are really just wrapping up before a soft reboot, that they're trying to close as many plot threads as they can, which explains Captain America a lot.
Yeah.
As good as that movie is, it was shocking how many old plot threads they wanted to tie up, even in a franchise not anywhere connected to the movie they were trying to close the door on. You know what I mean? It was more about closing the plot thread than necessarily getting the best Captain America movie. And I think we got a great Captain America movie, don't get me wrong. I think it could have been better to take out a lot of that stuff, but it was more trying to get the Eternals in there. It was more trying to get Incredible Hulk in there than necessarily be the best Captain America movie it could be. So I think we're going to get a lot of that right now. I think we're going to get just a slew of, remember that thing that we didn't quite deal with? Now we are.
Just throw everything in everybody else's movies and wrap it up.
I would hope that's not all the mindset they have going into it with it, because that means that's not what it means, but it would feel like they would just rush out movies or just put out movies that could be great but not quite great, but they're passable, they're serviceable.
Well, that's what they're trying to avoid because they want to go quality over quantity. For a while, it was just quantity. They wanted to pack Disney Plus with as much things as they could. Now they're scaling back on a lot. Like we heard rumor of a lot of things, not necessarily getting the axe, but are going. They're in hibernation.
Back shelf.
Yeah, back shelf. Sure. They've backburnered quite a few projects. Like we keep hearing rumor of Nova being in production and not in production. So. Amazes me that Wonder Man's still a thing, but all right.
Right.
But one thing that was
shot. It's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But out of all the shows to not get a season 2, I think that's wild to not get a Moon Knight, and I also think it's pretty wild if we don't get a Miss Marvel. One, it seems like we're definitely going to get, though, which I think we'll all be happy about because it was by far one of our favorite shows. As goofy as it may have been, it still has a soft spot in my heart, was Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hawkeye was
Just
so great.
rewatched it.
It was goofy, but it was a great show.
I watch the last episode now every Christmas. It's just part of the repertoire. Yeah. I might not do the whole thing, but that last episode. But yeah, we might actually be getting a season 2 because there's rumor about who the villain's going to be.
I say, who's he going to fight in season 2?
They've got to watch timing on all this stuff because by the time it comes out, Haley Steinfeld could be like 35. So,
yeah, but that's
time's
okay.
ticking here.
How
she's
old was
great,
Neve
though.
Campbell in Scream?
Not a teenager.
Wasn't she like 35, 38, some crazy number? Played a
Right, but she's
Yeah.
getting married
No,
soon
she
and
thinks
is
she's
gonna probably want
25.
to have kids soon.
Speaking
So-
of Scream, like everybody's coming back to that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the people who matter. That's not true.
I'm big excited.
That's not true. What's his name's coming? Arquette. David Arquette's coming back, and I think
How-
isn't
wait,
Matthew
how?
Lillard coming
World
back?
heavyweight champion David Arquette.
Matthew Lillard.
World heavyweight champion. David
Yeah,
Arquette?
he was in WCW at one
Yeah,
point.
he held
the
the title.
movie. The movie.
No.
He was
No,
in
no.
WCW at one point. Really?
Yeah.
It
Have-
stemmed from
Have
the movie.
Maurer show
Maurer
you the
has
You
the
documentary.
guys
belt.
say this thing to me
Yeah.
like it was going to entice me to now watch wrestling. If anything, that hurt your case so much more that this dude is a world heavyweight champion.
He had
Get out of here.
he has a movie out, like a documentary about it. I forget the name of it, but
It was called Ready to Rumble, and it's a phenomenal movie. I
No,
really
no.
like that movie.
No, there was
Stop
a-
ruining it with your reality.
There was a documentary.
It was very good. You can't kill David Arquette is what it's called.
Well, apparently you can.
Which,
Apparently you
speaking
can.
of which,
you've watched
didn't
the
he-
Screen franchise.
Didn't
Apparently
he
you
die
can.
in the last Scream?
Well, yeah, but so
Well,
Matthew
Skeet Ulrich
Lillard
is
apparently is
coming
coming
back,
back.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, hey, and I love Matthew Lillard. I think that dude's been I know
He
this
is so great.
unpopular opinion, but I do think if you say phenomenal acting is portraying a character as accurate as humanly possible and giving them depth, he deserves one for Shaggy.
yes.
I don't care what anybody
yeah.
says. He's so good as Shaggy, he deserves it.
But, like he's just great. Like at the conventions, went to Monster Mania a couple years ago, and they were waiting for a couple things to happen in his line. So David said, "Screw it." He just starts running up and down his line, high fiving people, running around, kissing babies, shaking hands, until he could get his line started up again. He was just.
You wanted to go for the joke, but
so
then you held
bad.
back and said no.
I saw
Shaking
I heard
babies.
that left turn.
Well, did you guys hear? I mean, I guess this is news today. It might not be news come Wednesday, but Matthew Lillard apparently is signed on for Daredevil season 2.
What?
Yeah,
I did
Really?
see that, and I
it's
wasn't
rumor,
sure.
but I would
Is
love
that
it.
what that was? And I didn't read it. I saw his picture. Go ahead. Tell us. Let us know.
There's nothing else to say. He's rumored to be in Daredevil season 2.
He's got to be a villain.
Who could he play?
It would be phenomenal for him to be a villain.
Who would it
Again,
be?
he has great range. He is. I think his role as in SLC Punk is some of the best acting I've seen. That when I mean, spoiler alert for that movie, very old. But when Heroin Bob dies, and that he has that "What am I going to do now?" is heartbreaking. How great that is delivered. I think Matthew Lillard deserves a lot more than he's been given since getting the role of a lifetime and then kind of strangled by it with Shaggy.
Oh, this isn't even a rumor. Like, this has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better. That's even better.
Yeah, February 28th it came out on Deadline. He's
Okay.
been cast as an undisclosed role.
All right,
Mr.
so that's-
Fear.
So then, yeah, he's the villain.
I saw that, and I thought it was just saying that he was like Muse or something because it kept showing him and then a picture of Muse. So I didn't take it as like it was.
Nah, that young
news,
dude at the
Yeah, we
the
met Muse.
psychologist was Muse.
We've seen him. All right, well, keeping it moving there, I'm glad we were able to throw that little tidbit in. But Vin Diesel was at an interview recently kind of hinting at that Kevin Feige apparently wants to work on a
Street Shark show.
Street Shark show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a live-action Street Shark movie
Bro.
starring Vin Diesel would be the greatest thing in the world.
Like Mars Extended Universe.
I would, dude. I would do horrible things to get that.
If we could just subtly get the SWAT cats in there too.
SWAT
I'd be-
cats, Biker
Right?
Mice
Oh,
from
yeah.
Mars, and Street Sharks all in a story.
Yes.
All I have to say is
Sign me up.
I'm doing my job extremely well today and keeping this thing off the rails.
Well, yeah. What was his actual line? Also, Disney wants their Planet X, which some say is Marvel's most anticipated movie. Ha ha. The film where Groot returns to his home planet. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, a finality for Groot would be kind of nice. I'm sure we'll see more Rocket and Groot at some
Would
point.
it
They're
be
not gonna let
more
them
of a? This is where I feel it would go. It would probably go more towards the animated shorts, but like not
Yeah.
a short,
Yeah.
but in a long form.
Yeah. Like a
I think
special
that-
one.
Like a 45-minute movie or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, they could even just go and try and tell a Groot origin story instead of him going back. It could be how they found Groot.
That would be dope.
I mean, you could even go back to just to pay homage to the original Planet X story with the big tree that's like attacking, and he's kind of the bad guy of the thing. You can play around with a lot of the heritage, we'll say, of Groot and in Marvel Comics with a really cool Baby Groot story, which I think out of all the iterations of Groot, we would kind of all say Baby Groot's the favorite. Like,
Yeah.
Original Groot is like the one you want to play video games as, but as far as the one I'm like, aw, it's gonna be
I
a
like
Baby.
angsty teenager Groot.
He's funny, but he's also obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's the
dude,
best
put the
part.
game down. Thor's dying.
Jeez, Groot.
Language. So then the last little bit is Daniel RPK also was talking about the Thunderbolts, and let me just I'm going to make a guess here. We all think Taskmaster's dying instantly.
Yes.
Bob gets introduced, and she gets
I
ripped
did.
in half.
I
Yep.
did.
But you've also stated before, and we've on earlier shows, Taskmaster has the least time in any of the trailers that we've seen.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it almost looks like Taskmaster is put into scenes that Taskmaster is not actually in.
Right.
And you also don't see Taskmaster in pretty much any scene besides the original, like, you guys were sent here, and all the doors close. After that, you don't see any more shots of Taskmaster. Well, according to Daniel RPK, when asked, he said it would be really disappointing if they changed the movie and killed off Taskmaster early because originally she had a really strong character arc in the film. Now, if you go back to when we talked about Black Widow for the first time, we were furious about how Taskmaster was portrayed because all the fun of Taskmaster was just thrown out the window.
Yes.
But we also said because the character survives, she's not irredeemable. You can now give her that character traits. You can give her those characteristics in a new story with her that she's no longer controlled by the Red Room. So now that she's free as a character, you can make her feel a lot more like traditional Taskmaster. So there is potential to fix that character, but I think they are still just going to use her as cannon fodder. Like, what was the joke? I think, what were you trying to say earlier, Huey? Slipknot? Slipknot from Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
I think that's who she's going to be. Like, her head's going to pop, or she's going to get ripped in half or something by Sentry.
Yeah.
By the way, watch yourself. If you don't want to actually see Sentry's look, Funko Pop has definitely ruined that already. It's out on the internet. Watch yourself if you don't want to actually
really?
see.
I missed
But I
that.
will say, I like how Baby Huey Googles instantly. The moment I said that,
Instantly,
Baby Huey was
he's
like, I
like,
got
shot
it
him.
right now.
Funko Pop is the new Legos. That's what they.
But I would, Funko Pop's been the new Legos. But yeah, I will say this, fairly accurate. Like it's kind of what you'd expect it would look like. So it's more gold than yellow, but what you would
take it.
expect.
Just want to add something about Thunderbolts. So Florence Pugh had an interview
Pew.
or something yesterday, or it came out yesterday. She said that, and this gave me some reassurance that I'm probably really going to like this movie. But she said the feel of Thunderbolts is like an A24 indie
Yeah.
film. So, speaking of Civil War.
Yep.
We
I'll
talked
watch
about that
anything
briefly.
A24 puts out.
Yeah, they're doing some awesome things. So, and for her to say that, I don't.
Oh, Civil War, not Marvel Civil War.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
My bad.
Yeah,
no,
Jesse
we
Jesse
didn't talk about
Plemons' Civil War, which was it was a good movie for what was spent on it. Anything she says, I'm in. So
Yeah, no.
I know she's just
Absolutely.
doing her job, but is she? Like,
I don't see how this movie can be bad because our expectations for these characters are so low. You know
And
what I mean?
then
Yeah.
at the same time, when you look at those scenes without Taskmaster from the trailer, how many times have we seen Marvel digitally edit out things from their trailers?
Oh, there's a
good
scene
point.
where they're all standing together where there's just an empty slot, and I'm like, there's somebody in that slot. There's no question. Somebody's standing there.
But
Power Man.
I want to say last thing I'll say about Taskmaster on this front is it is very possible that we're probably right, and it does get offed early on in the movie because Taskmaster in the books itself is a mantle because there have been more than
I was
one
gonna ask
character
that
to don
earlier.
that suit
Yeah.
and the mask.
Sure, but there's one. Yeah, I get it, but
So
anyway,
we can get a comic accurate Taskmaster next.
let's move over to well, that's what I'm saying. You can get a comic accurate one now that she's no longer connected to the Red Room. Take the Red Room out, her personality can actually show. Because the gender swap of Taskmaster didn't bother me that much as long as we kind of had that smart-ass, funny attitude. Like, if she was just snarky, like when they would try to give her, like, go get go get Black Widow, and she just gave him shit. And the one did it anyway, like just brushed him off, or was snarky during the fight with Black Widow. We would not have had many complaints about that character, but they essentially Deadpool Taskmaster. You know what I mean? They just when I say Deadpool, I mean original Deadpool.
Yeah.
Lost the lips.
Wolverine origins. Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit here and move over to DC because there's only one real story worth talking about, and that's Reacher.
There's another one.
Oh, is there?
Go on. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, let's
Sort of.
first talk about Reacher, and this is something that apparently to Alan, how do you say his name? Ritchson? Ritchson.
Thad Castle.
And that might be my problem is him in that show, but go on.
Well, he has been rumored or at least fan casted as Batman for the DCU for a while. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Reacher or Hawk. So this isn't his first time playing a superhero, and I would say he killed that role.
Right.
He killed that role as Hawk.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he play Aquaman in something too?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, that was
Smallville. Yeah.
Smallville. He was
Yeah.
he was Aquaman.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to
Long before
build
Vinny Chase.
a differentiation between David Cornsweat's Superman, who is much more Christopher Reeves-esque, and give a Batman that seems much more imposing, especially when something like, I don't know, Absolute Batman takes over for a while, wouldn't it make sense to bring on somebody like Reacher to be the opposite in the world's finest to counteract the slimness?
Sign me up.
100%.
I think he would be a really good Batman.
Yeah,
I think he could actually do a really good job of that. But Mashko does not agree.
wait, why not though?
I don't think physically, yes. That's fine. I don't think he necessarily has the acting chops to pull off Bruce Wayne or Batman for that matter. I think he has a very niche kind of acting style that's either like batshit crazy if is Blue Easter or what is it, Blue Mountain State?
Yeah, BMS.
Yeah.
Yep.
In a comedy. That show's great, by the way.
Yeah.
It's so funny that like
New
now
season
that
coming out soon.
it's getting a resurgence now, even though it was phenomenal. Like
They're
10
doing a movie
years.
or something, aren't they? A reunion.
They did a movie already. I think they're doing another season.
Yeah, I think there's like
Sorry.
yeah.
It's okay. I do this all the time. It's great because everybody wants to talk about other shit. But him is, you go from like Christian Bale. Like Christian Bale is one of probably top 5 actors, at least now working. To him, like his Reacher is an acquired taste from an acting standpoint because.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're also neglecting him as Hawk.
Well,
And as Hawk, I could see him playing Batman. If you just put him in a darker costume, I could see
I think
that
Hawk
character.
is closer to Thad Castle than he is.
Thad
Batman.
Castle is a treat to watch.
Yeah, you guys keep saying this. I don't know what you're referring to.
Just I don't know what it would be on, but check out like 1 or 2 episodes of Blue Mountain State.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It's worth it.
It's about football. Sorry,
Oh, I've seen.
but
All right, no, I've seen clips.
yeah, that's it.
You're
That's it.
trying to take my quarterback seed. Yeah, I've seen clips.
Back when
seen clips.
comedy was great.
Right.
He has so many
But you
whatever
really
in the
think
fire.
that you think that Bruce Wayne and Batman is that big of a feat of a character that he cannot pull that off.
So
It would-
I want to argue. I mean, it's like
Even if he did, he wouldn't be the worst. Sorry, teachers.
I want to argue that him as Reacher, if you watched Reacher and just imagine the character Reacher in the bat suit, that's Batman. I'm
not
talking
fun.
I don't
not
think he's
that
broody
wrong.
enough.
because he's in sunlight. But if everything happened, if most of Reacher happened at night and he was in a bat suit, it's 100% Batman. It's a little stiffer, but he's Batman.
If he was just on a ledge, looking down at Gotham, he could 100% do that role, and I don't think that role is that big of a stretch, to be honest.
Yeah, and
I do
there's-
think that there are going to be moments, there will be scenes that will be emotional, but Batman is not one to express many emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, making him laugh is like a holiday for the Justice League. Like, it's a day to try and make Batman laugh.
Right. Barely get a smirk out of that man.
I guess it depends on what type of Batman you're going for.
Well, they're going Batman Brave and the Bold.
Adam
So
West.
this is going to be Daddy. This is Daddy Batman. This
Oh,
is-
well, absolutely.
I just got Damian Batman. So he'd be a little bit older,
Batman
but
Year
and he
One?
could well, it wouldn't be Batman Year One, but he does look like
Oh.
he could play a young / older Batman who would have a young son, and so you could keep him around the franchise for quite a while, but still be a believable older father.
Well, I mean, in reality, I think he's like 43.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
One of
For the
my,
kind of role that you're trying to put, if you're putting Damian in there, that's perfect.
I mean, that's yeah.
My favorite fan casting
He's
has poked his
42.
head up.
damn it,
Fan casting is who?
1 year.
Who's it, Lance?
I was saying one of my favorite fan castings has popped its head up again recently with Triple H as Kratos, the God of War from wrestling.
I saw
And-
that.
All right, I'm going to blame you, Mashko, for the fact that a Kratos comment just came up. I know Lance did it, but it's your fault.
I'm just saying,
You set the precedent, Mashko.
Triple H to Kratos is like Ryan Reynolds to Deadpool.
Finn
Yeah,
Jones.
I got that. And there was a reason why when I brought up Dexter, I made sure to say that there was a comic so that it was related to the things that we're talking
There's
about.
Kratos comic.
There's a Kratos.
There's God of War
There's-
comics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, cool. What's your favorite issue?
One.
All of them.
Well, to be fair, back in the day, there were wrestling comics.
Yeah? There was an AEW comic.
Well, there's
that
wrestling
tried real
comics out
hard
now, aren't
recently.
there? Didn't DC just partner with them or something?
AEW.
Yeah, it was-
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Meh.
not great.
No, was it not? Well, didn't also Rey Mysterio? Didn't he come out with his own comic?
I don't know if that's out yet. I know you were
No,
talking
it is.
about
I have
actually
a copy
getting-
of it.
You okay.
Yeah, I bought it
you
because
do?
I was wanted to talk about it on the show, and then I was like, I don't want to read this. And no offense, Rey Mysterio, if you're ever watching this, you're my favorite, but I don't care about anything else.
He was also told to slow down on the Marvel costumes.
Who was?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah. You never saw him come out with the Spider-Man mask? He
Disney
got other things.
officially sent him a cease and desist.
Hysterical. All right, well, let's move
Hall
over
of
to the not comic yet somehow still comic related.
We're not going to
Dexter.
talk about Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom.
Right?
Yeah, Dominic,
Yeah.
your
Don't you
favorite.
remember when
What
he
happened?
turned heel?
What are you saying to me,
Dominic. Forget it.
Dominic Toretto? When I think you say Dom to me, I think Toretto. That's the only Mashko and Dom I can
Ray
think of.
Mysterio's son.
Oh, I don't know his name.
gotta
He's a
remember he
scumbag.
doesn't
I don't
watch
know his
wrestling.
name. He's trash. I hated him First off,
He's
First
the
off.
best wrestler in the WWE
let-
right now.
Let
that's
him cook.
And how sad. And how sad. You're a failure. You're nothing like your father, and you need a haircut. So do you.
Wow.
If you're
Dang.
listening and watching and want more wrestling talk, let us know.
Yeah, it won't be from me. It won't be from me. Yeah, with Mashko the other day was like, "Hey, we're going over to our buddy's house," and I'm like, "Is there a wrestling event going on?" He's like, "No." All right, I'll be there. All right, let's move over to Dexter because first off, Dexter season 1 through 4 outstanding.
Okay.
Right, some of the best TV. You actually features
shit.
just finished.
Shoot. Wait, DC, can we back it up?
Sure. What's
Two
up?
things.
Beep,
There was a screenshot that went up recently. Well, I have two things on this. From Jason Momoa sent a text to James Gunn. This was right when Gunn took the whatever head of DC Studios or whatever, and all it said was what did it
Lobo.
say? Lobo.
Lobo.
And he said,
He knew.
I always saw you as that character or whatever. And
Even
then-
he did. We all did.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I said it.
We
I
all
said it
my
multiple
moon and my
times.
stars. Those stars have to be Lobos.
Here's an interesting thing.
Roman
So
Reigns.
they're filming Supergirl right now.
Right.
We're not seeing anything from this. We're not seeing.
Sound, they filming on a soundstage?
They have to be because there is nothing at all
It's as
being
quiet
shown.
as the show was.
Yeah. Because
That was a bad show.
I think that's where some of this Lobo stuff came from because he was.
I like the first season.
Either way. But if
season was
it's
the worst.
Lobo, it's got to be on
Not to me. I
green
like the first
screen.
season.
That's when it was on
Yeah.
CBS. That's why it was the worst.
Yeah. And I didn't
They
hate
gave it no budget. Okay.
I didn't hate it. I thought she was great. All
So
right,
it was
that's
Gossip Girl.
Dexter,
moving over.
man.
Yeah, so features. What are we thinking? First four, since you've just finished binging the first 4 seasons of Dexter, and now it's about to go downhill.
I'm hurt.
Oh, spoiler alert! I mean, I know this is an old show,
yeah.
but
From, like,
where
20
he
years
ended
ago.
is I
The
know,
Rita
but where he ended
thing?
is a misty-eyed moment.
I can't. I don't even want to talk about. It's so.
All I'm gonna say is everyone deserves a Rita. Anyway, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are trash.
Yeah, yeah.
5's pretty
everything-
good. Actually, that's not true. I liked 5.
They
And
just
6 is
nuked
not
the
as bad.
fridge. That's
7
all they
and 8.
did. They jumped the
Wow.
shark. They nuked the fridge. They put out that fantastic season 4, and everything after that couldn't hold.
Well,
hold
it
up.
was only supposed to be 4 seasons. They were forced to keep the show going afterwards, and they didn't really have an idea. So that's why 5 feels like it actually is going somewhere, because they kind of it was the one that they had direction for. But moving from there, it feels like it just spirals out of control. So much so that the last couple seasons have multiple villains. Like
Yeah.
instead
Speaking of forcing the show to go on, this new show.
Oh yeah, I'm not even getting to that. You're jumping ahead. I don't need your segues, buddy. I got this.
I just mean like that stuff is just always kind of like let it die. Let it die.
No, I disagree with you. So let me finish. So yeah, so 7 and 8 were not good, and I'm going to warn anybody going into it: 7 and 8 are not good, and I would argue 8 is the worst series finale ever made. I think 8 is trash because they wouldn't let him die. Dexter's supposed to die just like Heisenberg. You know what I mean? Like it is
Wait,
a
what?
must. All right, just like Tony Soprano, I pick one.
We don't know if he died. That went to black.
That is true.
We don't know. What about
But
Lost?
because it was so bad, they released another show years later called Dexter New Blood, and it's something you do have to watch before you watch this next show. There's actually oddly 2 shows you might have to watch, so you do need to go through this one. This is trying to fix the mistake of how it ended with him becoming a stupor lumberjack in like Alaska or something. It was the dumbest decision they've ever made. It's really a horrible ending. But
I'm
New
halfway
Blood
through
is
New
really
Blood.
good. I should say really good. People
It's fun.
don't. It's fun.
Super fun.
It is fun. It is not the worst. It is much better than the last fall. It's not season 1 through 4, but it's as good as season 5. I'll say. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Was it called Cold Blood or something?
New Blood.
New Blood.
The other one, the lumberjack one.
No, that was just season 8, right?
Oh,
Is it
okay.
season 7 or season 8? I think it's
That was,
Wait,
the,
what's-
that was the end credit tease of the finale.
yeah. After he gives his son away to a murderer, like a serial killer.
Because there
like,
was a
don't worry.
whole show of him being a lumberjack, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's New Blood. He's not a lumberjack in the show. He
So-
runs a sporting goods store.
New Bloods with the Sun, Original Sin is the most recent. And
Right.
then
Oh, right.
Resurrection? is
Right, but you have to. I know we're trying to move past this, gentlemen, but there's a reason I'm bringing this up. New Blood, you have to watch because one of the returning characters is Harrison. You can't really skip this because adult Harrison or childhood Harrison, the son of Dexter, plays a ginormous role in New Blood. And if he is going to be a recurring character in the new show, Dexter Resurrection, you kind of need to watch New Blood because it's very important to the development of Harrison's character. So he's the only reason I think you need to watch that show besides he's coming back.
I
So-
only have.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I only have one question about that. Like, do you think that this show will be the warm handoff between Dexter and Harrison?
No, I think Origins is the warm handoff between Dexter New Blood and this show because of the way New Blood opens. They show you, Origins opens. They show you that Dexter survives at the end of New Blood. So I'm trying my best not to spoil this for features, but you're screwed, buddy. I forget what the line was, but Michael C. Hall said that apparently it's really cold when you get shot in Alaska. So that was his tease.
Oh,
slowed down.
His
everything.
heart slowed down enough for him to survive until he got to the hospital. But with knowing how that episode ends, without spoiling anything there for features, it's going to be very important, I'm sure, for Resurrection and the continuation of Harrison's story. So definitely watch that if you haven't seen it. The interesting thing, though, is Deborah Morgan will not be back, and she played a pretty big role in New Blood because she was the new Harry. But old Harry is back.
Really?
So old Harry Morgan is coming back for flashbacks, I guess, or for wisdom to depart to Dexter, but he's one of the returning characters. There's not many returning characters. It's Dexter, Harry, Harrison, and Baptista.
No, Baptista.
That's the returning.
Not the
characters.
wrestler.
Yeah, not the wrestler. Angel Baptista, the better one. So the new actors to sign on makes this one of the best stacked shows I've seen in a while. So now we've got Uma Thurman, Peter Dinklage, Kristen Ritter, Neil Patrick Harris, and Eric Stonestreet.
That's a lot of power.
First off, Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Uma Thurman in anything forever. So
Right.
I love the fact that Uma Thurman's there.
I would have started with Kristen Ritter, but that's okay.
Well, Kristen Ritter, I know, is going to be Jessica Jones. I'm excited for other things. Like, I'm way more excited for Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones than cameoing in Dexter.
I don't know. You said NPH, and I'll watch anything that has Neil Patrick Harris
Yep.
in it.
Yo, Neil Patrick Harris as a villain is always fun.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like, you say what you want. Yeah, say what you want about the Disney Doctor Who, but Neil Patrick Harris in Doctor Who is so good.
Killed it.
It's so
Dr.
good.
Horrible. Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
So
Oh yeah.
I think that this show is going to be a win. I think it's either it's going to be a win and the script's good enough that it was able to attract this caliber of a cast, or the script's really bad and they're trying to hide that fact in a high caliber cast.
I don't think you get these people popping out of their tunnels for something that's bad.
A lot of money will do it. Money does a lot of things.
Yeah.
To quote the amazing Harrison Ford, that's what the money's for.
Lance, just look at NFL free agency right now.
Right.
Money talks.
I'm happy you guys are on the show to make those kind of jokes. I don't know what the hell you just said.
It's been a wild day. Lots of people getting the bag.
For those of you who are still looking for some Deb content, Jennifer Carpenter is in the current season of 1923. She's playing a U.S. Marshal.
Oh,
Good show.
Well, there you
Harrison
go.
Ford's also in that, and Helen Mirren. So it's a great show.
I only
You
think
don't-
of Exorcism of Emily Rose.
You don't need to watch Origins, but I would recommend you watch Origins.
Watch it all, man.
I would
Yeah.
watch it
Origins
all.
was
Yeah.
really good. Like
99
really
more
good.
seasons, Morty.
I feel like I have to watch Origins.
And Dexter was the worst. It was the best. Like, that's how good the show is that your lead is the worst person in the show.
I'm still blown away by how they were able to recast everyone and make them look like the younger. Like the
Young
casting
Deb was
very
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how
The mannerisms.
her arc going into being a cop, I loved.
Yeah.
I loved. I love the way that they redid Dexter's first kill and how they kind of added to the story where it was really Dexter's idea that he put in Harry's head instead of Harry begging him to kill the nurse. Like it's a show worth watching if you're a Dexter fan, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be that necessarily moving forward because it doesn't really give you much. You just get to see younger versions of the characters, and you get a much better idea of what was going on with the Mosers. Like I will say, what Dexter and who Ben? No, who was
Brian?
the ice truck?
Brian.
Brian.
yeah.
By what was his name? What did Dexter call him as a baby? I forget. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get a lot more of why they were separated,
Yeah.
right? But it's not. None of it's necessary. So it is worth a watch, but don't feel like you have to. And then I think last but not least, and we'll make this real quick before we get to our comic reviews, Captain Planet is coming back with a new graphic novel.
He's
It's
our hero.
very rare
Gonna
do we
take
now bring up
pollution
actual
down
comic
to
news in
zero.
the news section of the show, but I am so excited that April 23rd is going to give us a brand new Captain Planet story, and it looks like they're going to give it that same treatment that they gave Biker Mice from Mars and Transformers and G.I. Joe. It looks like it's getting a much more comic-centric reboot, like even Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy is another good one of these old properties coming back and being really, really good. So I'm stoked for this, and I will say the fight scenes so far, the panels that they released for it look great, and I'm very, very excited to read this.
I've never come across a single soul that has ever said Captain Planet is something that they enjoy. Never.
Wait. What do you mean?
I loved
didn't
Captain
enjoy?
Planet growing up.
Yeah, as a
Wind,
I love how it had
fire,
that too. That was
earth.
great.
Like he had to enjoy it as a kid growing up.
No,
And then-
it's just this.
Mashko's already adult when we were
Mashko's
kids.
just
so.
a little older than us. It's okay. It's
A
why I
little.
don't like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, those things were just a little too. It's why Mashko doesn't like the Power Rangers, but the rest of us do.
I like
That's
the
fair.
first
I
season.
get that.
that's fair. That is fair.
You like the first season, is that what he said?
I remember watching that.
Oh, and by the way, the SpongeBob Magic cards are coming out. Anyway, so that is the last little bit of news. Yeah, I'm definitely spending money on that.
God.
Oh, I plan to. I'm gonna piss Lance off with my SpongeBob deck.
I've had to build
I've
down.
never heard uttered before.
I never thought there were words that could be uttered. All right, let's move on over to our comic reviews. Let's see what was in the poll this week.
I was a slacker this week.
Well, it's not your fault. Diamond's still screwing you over.
I'll tell you what, I started reading Doctor Strange of Asgard, and I made it like 3 or 4 pages in, and I said, no, I'm not reading books this week.
That was a good book, though. I enjoyed Doctor
Yeah.
Strange of Asgard. I thought that was.
I am trying to do all the One World Under Dooms.
I don't want all of them. I think this
I'm
is gonna be
trying.
the only one I'm going to do outside of Thunderbolts.
My plan was to read some old Daredevil, starting with the Frank Miller run, and just didn't happen. So
The new Storm series is good now that she's gotten out of that whole situation she was in, and
Bro.
yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, on the show, please. On the show, please.
Like
What are you
now?
guys? What are you guys going to text each other later? No. You, now, please.
I mean, you read the most recent issue of Storm?
Yeah. hmm
Okay.
Number 6, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love the fact that right now Storm is the most powerful mutant on Earth.
Yeah, just godlike.
Yeah, no,
It's-
she is a god.
Well, to be
You're
fair,
right. Yeah.
isn't she always?
Well, yes, on a very, she's a
Like,
mutant
unless she's on
scale.
Mars, in which she's then the most powerful, one of the most powerful on Mars.
Well, at this point, no matter what planet you
It's a
put her
Rocco.
on,
Mars is a real place. Don't give me stuff. That's a real mutant headquarters.
no matter where you put Storm at this point, she's probably going to be the most powerful mutant there. I would think
Yeah.
at this point, the only mutant that would rival her power, or I would say she would rival their power, is Phoenix.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
Storm is super OP at this point.
This book has been nonstop, freaking awesome. Every
Yeah.
single issue of
Oh,
this.
but one of the X-Men books is good.
Yeah, no, Storm
Laws of physics.
started off
wanted that to
kind of.
be.
Storm kind of started off a little slow, but like the way it's going right now, you gotta love it, and I love what they're doing for this character. I think this is her just due at this point.
Wolverine feels like the opposite.
Really?
Started great. I really loved where it was going. I loved the Wendigo story, but they're now so in the trenches with this Animite villain who's taking over the adamantium-based villains, and it's Romulus, I believe, is his name, is an old Wolverine villain from like from ancient times, who has a fourth claw in his thumb.
What?
Anyway, he becomes like, I don't know. It's. I was reading it, going, can we just get back to the Wendigo part? Like that, I really enjoyed that aspect of the story. Now we're getting into this ancient god of metal, but because man made adamantium, that it's a blight on the world, and that it needs to destroy anybody who's using the tainted metal. I don't know. I was like, all right, I'm out of this. It was really, and it was funny because it was a great opening fight scene with Laura Kenny and Wolverine, and when people first got the dual characters, you might not have liked the Laura Kenny book when it was just Wolverine, which, by the way, I thought that first book was pretty good. But when they fight together, it's always fun. You know what I mean? It's like the Spectacular Spider-Man with Peter and Miles.
Yeah.
It's always good. When the two, David Aja's Hawkeye with Kate Bishop and Clint. Like
Yeah.
when the Mantle character actually gets to be in the book for a little while, their dynamic is great. Like Logan says something to her like, you do this and I'm going to do this, and she goes, all right, whatever, Dad. I don't know. I'm probably not going to get the next one now.
I was off a couple issues back when the first 3 issues were the exact same thing. I was like, this is cool. I like the Wendigo, but it's like, okay, you've been on the mountain. There's a Wendigo. There's Wolverine.
Well, it's not just the Wendigo. It's the most unique way to bring back the original Wolverine story we've ever seen. It is a really unique take on it where he's trying to protect the Wendigo because the Wendigo is a child who's now cursed to be bloodthirsty, which is something that Wolverine understands. So it's a really fun dynamic between those characters, which you could have had a lot of fun with him chasing the Wendigo down and trying to help this kid. But it feels like the Wendigo is just a catalyst to get us into this adamantite story that I could give a shit about.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
Ultimates.
Yes.
Ultimates was a lot of fun this week. Ultimates had some,
Oh my
had some
God.
doozies.
All right,
First off,
you guys can
features.
let it go. Let him fly.
How sad were you? Sad were you?
I was excited, and then when I realized what was happening, I was like, "Oh man!"
Oh, damn, he dead. Damn, they mounted my man. He's dead up
Yo,
on
they
the
really
wall.
did. They strung him out like the Filet-O-Fish joint from the McDonald's commercial. I was like,
Well, all right, so I didn't.
Yo, if
read
he
it.
turned around and just turned his head, give me back my Filet-O-Fish. Give me my fish.
So wait, what happened?
Namor, they introduced Namor into the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Namor,
In the best way
is-
possible.
Namor, he was a part of the Invaders. They were called instead of the Defenders.
"Yeah,
No, they were the invaders back then. In
Wasn't that? Weren't
main
they? Oh no,
continuity.
you're right. It was Doctor Strange and Hulk and stuff as the Defenders.
Yeah, that's defenders.
Anyway, his character is killed off, and then because he's killed off, first off, he's not killed off like in a way that's cool.
right."
The people of Atlantis just kill him.
Just turned
the
their
sea-
backs on him.
But the funniest part is that the sea
Because
creatures,
he's a bitch.
the sea creatures go, no, he's still our king and won't disintegrate. Like they won't, like the
Yeah.
bacteria won't go on his body and eat him away. So he's preserved, pristine. So he literally is like taxidermied up on the wall, and he's just, and you see him the whole time. You're like, they're gonna bring him back, and they keep just reassuring you, no, he's dead.
Yeah,
He's super dead. Like they had a funeral for him. Now his funeral, they just kind of put him in the ocean. We're like, rest well, my king. But no, he'll be back. I'm sure, because they didn't.
they'll comic his ass back to life.
Yeah,
they
there's
had
no
to.
way he doesn't.
Return of Water Cyclops.
Water Cyclops. I mean,
Yeah,
he
'cause they're
sucks. I
both
get
terrible.
the point.
Yeah.
Sorry, features. But we did get a really cool twist that I think was what Captain America needed in this book. Because
Yes.
Captain
Yes.
America, I don't know if you guys agree, has felt like just a useless character. Like
He hasn't
he's
done
there,
anything.
and he has his speeches, but he has no real relevance to the story besides like a temporary leader from time to time.
Okay, yeah, he
Agreed.
doesn't feel like leader Cap that we get.
No, he just feels like part of, like, you know what, he feels like how Hulk is to the Avengers in the MCU. Like he's
Yes.
just around because they need to put him in an Ultimate book.
Right, and that's, I don't think you should treat Cap like that.
Where this book, first off, the way they tied in the Punisher logo with the
Yes.
Red Skull was really cool,
that was dope.
Yes.
and the way they tied in John Walker to Captain America to
Yep,
the
yep.
story was really cool. And then the biggest twist of all, we meet the new Red Skull, and the new Red Skull.
Don't
is-
spoil it yet.
We already said.
Don't spoil it, just-
Spoiler alert!
Way
I'm
earlier.
spoiler alert. I'm doing
Right.
it.
It
doing
has
it.
to happen.
Spoiler alert. It's Bucky. Bucky's the new Red Skull. I love it. I love
I
it.
love
I
it.
love it. The new Winter Soldier is Wolverine, and Bucky is the new Red Skull to be the antithesis of Captain America.
Yeah.
Bro. And the Red Skulls are more of a gang. Like they're like
They kind of framed them like a Nazi gang almost.
they're straight up
Well,
Nazi gang.
yeah,
Yep,
kind of.
absolutely. There's no
Yeah.
question. He said Nazis quite a bit. He was like, "They're Nazis. I don't care what the plan was. We're taking out the Nazis."
It's always serious.
It's always serious when you're taking on Nazis. It was very Captain America.
And we're demonetized.
Oh man.
But yeah, so Nazis. But yeah, Captain America taking on John Walker is very funny because he doesn't.
Yeah.
John Walker, oddly enough, gets the same treatment that everyone else does, where the future version of Iron Lad shows up saying, you're supposed to be a hero, here's the super soldier serum, but he's already kind of corrupted by the Red Skull gang. I forget what they're called. They're just the Red Skulls? They might
Yeah,
just be the
Red
Red
Skulls.
Skulls.
I think they're the Red Skulls. Yeah.
And so he was like, thanks for the serum, takes it, but he just stays being one of the Red Skulls. So he walks in all jacked, and then
Super jacked.
Human Torch just goes over and lights his face on fire, and that's the end of John Walker. It's one panel, and he's got no face anymore. All right, moving on. But yeah, the big twist of Bucky being Winter Soldier brought me right back into the Ultimate Universe. Like, you know how Absolute feels like it's kind of waxing and waning a little bit and I'm losing steam?
Yeah.
Ultimates felt like that. Like, it was like, I'm getting it because I'm reading it, but now I can't wait for the next issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want a solo, maybe a one-shot or something for Cap, just to focus in on this.
The one-shot for Nick Fury was phenomenal.
That was really
so good. The Ultimate Universe is still really good. And yes, I will say that right now, currently, Black Panther's the best book. It will get taken over by Wolverine eventually, unless Spider-Man decides to do something, which it has the potential. But until, honestly, I thought it was a great ending for Spider-Man until Baby Huey ruined it last week. So, Baby Huey wasn't Mysterio in the background? Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right there.
But Doctor Strange of Asgard, what didn't you like about it, Mashko?
Everything.
50 pages.
I lost interest. I had to move on to something else.
Is it the art?
I thought the art was pretty
I don't
good.
think it was the art. The art was fine.
No, art
And the
seemed
twist
fine.
at the end was great.
Yeah.
The
And
twist
that's
at
what
the
I
end.
hoped you would have stayed for.
Really,
You said it was
really
trash. That was a
'Cause-
good twist.
Yeah. Well, it's because you know how, remember in
Life happened. Sorry.
Have you guys been reading? I stopped reading it a while ago, but not Infamous. What is Immortal Thor?
Oh yeah.
So Immortal Thor, Loki had that scene like, I'm going to betray you, but it's, I need you to trust me. Like, do you trust me? I will betray you, but you need to trust me. He has a similar moment in this where, again, spoiler alert, Doctor Strange wants to be the Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard because of Doom being the Sorcerer Supreme of Midgard. He needs to kind of get back to it, we'll say. And Thor's like, if you can convince our sorceress here, who's in charge of magic, you're cool to stay. So he eventually goes to see her, and how he deals with Asgardians, because they're all stronger than him, is pretty interesting. But when he meets her, Loki shows up, and Loki goes, yeah, he should be the Sorcerer Supreme. You should 100% make him the Sorcerer Supreme. That's a great idea. When she goes to shake his hand, he stabs her in the chest, Loki, killing her, but at the same time going, that wasn't me, I didn't do it, that wasn't me, and then vanishes. And then he's now left with a bloody murder weapon and a body of the Sorceress Supreme of Asgard lying dead on the floor while people walk in the room. So I cannot wait to see how Thor deals with that. Yeah. Hey, what a way to bring me in for an issue 2. You did a great job of guaranteeing I'm going to read that next issue.
Did Doctor Strange have his body back, or is he still...
He got his body back. He's in his body. I don't understand a lot of it. I either missed that. I just gave up on that whole thing. His brother's dumb, and I don't care anymore. Didn't he end up back in one of the Crypt books? Didn't he end up in a mirror again or something? I don't care. No one cares. No one cares about Doctor Strange's brother.
Is he the fairest of them all?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Okay.
And honestly, Doctor Strange's book was one of the most disappointing of all of the Blood Hunt books.
But wow. I'm gonna keep reading all of the One World Under Dooms until I have a reason to stop.
Oh, I'm gonna read One World Under Doom. I don't want to read Red Hulk and Did you read Fantastic Four?
I haven't, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
So, the same way that Lance is going to keep up with the One World
Joneses.
Under Doom, I'm following X-Manhunt, the Joneses.
I thought about jumping on that.
Well, I mean, you partially did, because the storm issue,
yep.
that was the second title in the series for it. But it's pretty much starts off, and this is something I didn't know about Professor X, is that he has a daughter with Lilandra. Spoiler alert, if people care. He has a daughter with Lilandra, and essentially she's getting overthrown while in space and sends him a mental message. So this is why he breaks out of jail. And now everyone else, the X-Men, are trying to bring him back in. And now you kind of see how devious, I think devious is the right word to say, how Xavier is, because he's going to them for help, but also not telling them the full story and allowing them to be set up in certain places where he's like, all right, cool, you guys handle this and I'm out. And you're like, that was a dick move. But,
I just want to say that the best X-Men books coming out right now are 8 Deaths of Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
And Storm.
Well, that's over now, though.
No, there's one more coming out, I think, this week, actually.
this
nice.
week is the final issue. I think.
Yeah, so excited for that. The last book that I read was Jedi Knights. That was I was not originally. I thought it was kind of like a High Republic book, and I don't know that lore. I don't really care to dive into those books. And we all know how much I like the Acolyte. So I wasn't as keen at first, and then I realized on the cover was good old Qui-Gon, and that's won me real fast. So it is a great book. I enjoyed that immensely.
Cool
Two
art.
issues left.
Very cool art of Spider-Man. Cool.
Two.
Very cool art, but it does a really good job of juggling a lot of characters, and it has a really cool nod at the end that obviously is a premonition of the Phantom Menace, because this takes place just prior to the Phantom Menace. But Obi-Wan gets a vision of someone stabbing Qui-Gon through the chest with these blades, and he's got like a mask on that's red and black, and he's like, some of these are true, some of these are not, and he sees a lot of visions, but one of them he sees is the death of Qui-Gon. So how this all plays in, and I bet you that every time we see young Obi-Wan, these visions get a little clearer, which would be a really cool way of leading into that moment of him watching his master die in the same way he saw early on. The one thing I was a little interesting about it was that Yoda was very keen on saying how great he was, and I believe at this point he wasn't yet, because the whole thing with Obi-Wan is he's not really connected to the Force as good as everyone else is. He's just trained like no one else has. So he is the opposite of Anakin, who is just straight talent. He is just straight training. So it's while he is really good, he's still a Padawan, and I'm like, you're a little too good, but all right. Still a good book, and if you're into Star Wars, it's worth it. And honestly, Mashko, the fact that you read The Inquisitors and this isn't one you read is just bizarre to me.
I saw it at the store, and it just had Qui-Gon on the front with that super cool art, and I was just like, okay, I have to get this. But I haven't read it, but I have it. But now
Qui-Gon's cracking jokes. Qui-Gon's being Qui-Gon. It even says when they're going through everybody, and they gives the little like what they are. It's like Yoda, Master of Masters, right? And it gives everybody what they are. Then it goes Qui-Gon, Maverick.
He's flying a plane.
Tom Cruise.
You want to talk about obscure books? I've got one on my list for this week.
Ooh.
Nick Fury verse Fin Fang Foom #1.
There you go.
We talked about this. We talked about this for what we were excited about for 2025. I can't believe it's actually here.
Oh, it's coming.
I didn't read Doom and Rocket, and this is a part of that series, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, the verses.
This is a good week. This is a real good week. We got Absolute Superman. We got Transformers. Again, Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, Dark Patterns.
Dark Patterns is what
Batman,
I'm looking
Dark
for.
Patterns.
Paradiso.
Very, very good.
Paradiso.
Oh, Parody. Yeah.
Number 4.
Alien
Yeah.
Paradiso.
When does
is
that
out.
show come out? Alien Earth.
Alien Earth? I can't wait.
Alien Earth?
Soon, right?
It's yeah. I don't know I think we should find out at some point.
Right.
We seem to be talking
Either
about
that
it.
or all of a sudden we're going to go, you guys won't believe it. Today we're reviewing Alien Earth.
It'll be out Friday.
Is it out Friday?
Bug Wars #1. It's a reprint.
You know what comes out next week?
What's that?
Deviant #9.
Oh, does it really?
Yep. March
That's
19th.
exciting.
We've
What
been
is
waiting
that?
for
it.
How many?
baby.
Yeah, about to say, is this the final issue?
Yeah.
Thank God. Not that it deserves it to be the last issue. I just like.
I just want to find out what the hell happens.
Yeah, just wrap it up at this point, B.
You're gonna get the answers you want.
Actually, next week's great. Absolute
actually.
Batman's next week. Oh, Absolute Flash drops.
Where?
Oh,
When?
it's
Next
so
week?
exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute Flash is next week.
Hell
And
yeah.
One World Under Doom and Ultimate Black Panther. Wow. Batman and Robin also dropped. So the next 2 weeks are going to be good book weeks.
G.I. Joe.
Love and
Wow.
Rockets #16.
And Bug Wars #2. Wow, this is. What did you just say?
I did read Bug Wars.
Did
Bug
you say
Wars is
Lemon
great.
Rockets?
Love and Rockets
Oh,
number
Love
16.
and Rockets.
And Gatchaman, Only One Earth #2 comes out.
You
Really?
sound so excited. There's a new Thundercats book coming out called Thundercats Lost #1.
That's okay.
You guys read that one, didn't you?
The Saga of the Swamp Thing
That's exciting.
#37.
Oh, look,
Superpowers
the
variant.
Hellboy Shadow of the Golden Crane is no longer called Hellboy Shadow of the Golden Crane. It's just called Shadow of the Golden Crane. So they're not trying to trick anybody this time. They're buying a book that's not about Hellboy. Way to use the proper branding, assholes. All right. Well, that's it. I'm done. I need a nap. I think I need a nap.
This daylight savings time is kicked my butt
Oh
this
man,
week.
let's not
Have
even.
a Snickers, Mendte.
I do. I'm not myself when I'm hungry. I turn into Mauer. All right. On that note, I'm going to do that thing. I feel like at this point we need to end the show.
Do it.
We're a little over.
Are we? How much are we? Yeah,
we're under.
Are we under?
Are we?
Yeah, we're way
We're
under.
120.
That's over.
No, 130s.
2.
What we've been doing.
Oh.
What? Yeah, that just means we've been over regularly.
It's
We're
an
trying
hour
for
show
an hour,
and
man.
we're like 30
Please
minutes
over.
of books.
Yeah. Anyway,
Do that thing.
if you enjoy the show, please, by all means, find us on socials, comment,
Like, follow, subscribe.
all that jazz, all the call to actions you usually hear. They
Smash
all
that
come in.
subscribe
Smash
button.
the subscribe button.
Share it with your
450
friends.
splash on that subscribe button.
But yeah, the only place that we're different is X, which is where we are That Comic Pod, but everywhere else, That Comic Podcast. And then obviously That Comic Podcast is .com is the best place to go, where you will find our merch store. You will also find some Baby Huey stuff. People bought mugs recently, loving that the mugs are moving. Go ahead and buy yourself some mugs. Yeah, we got to do a mean mug Mashko mug.
A mean mug.
Mean mug
Mean
Mashko. I would
mug.
buy the crap out of that mug. Just a silhouette.
Man.
Just on the back it says Cyclops stuff.
Like the like an Alfred Hitchcock mug.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. But once again, I'm Mendte.
I'm Mashko.
And I'm Features.
I'm Huey.
And I'm Lance.
Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
Deuce.
Excelsior.
Later.
And that is that.
So that's that. That's that. And that's that. 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 That's that.